Our first Salt Lake critter is this American Avocet. It's one of the many birds that relies on the Great Salt Lake for both migration purposes as well as breeding grounds in the summertime. He's got a lot of orange on him, so gonna be really fun to paint. I'm super excited. So let's just go ahead and dive right on in. So the first thing we're gonna do is get some clean water and a really big brush. I like these, gosh, I don't even know what they're called, like quilt brushes from Rebel Unicorn Crafts. This is their number 3. Just a synthetic big brush that you can hold a lot of water in. You're gonna go ahead and trace the outline of your bird. It doesn't super matter if you get water inside the lines of the bird, but I always just kind of try not to. Beak doesn't matter so much because that's going to be black, so not a big deal, but just kind of trace the outline, get it nice and totally completely wet. If you're following along, don't worry about pausing it because I'm going about the slow speed that we all are going, so we're all just gonna do this together. So one thing you do want to make sure is that the legs are dry and the area around the legs dry, because we don't want the water to carry the color into the legs, because the legs are going to be white. So just be very careful not to get the legs. Beak doesn't matter so much, it's going to be black, we'll go over it, but the legs for sure you want to leave white. So once you get a fair amount of water on your picture, I'm going to go ahead and grab some yellow. Let's see, this one. And just going to go ahead and drop that in up top and let that just kind of spread. I also added some orange color, like a strong orange, just to give it kind of more a dynamic look up here at the top. Let that go ahead and meld into each other. Be super pretty. Sometimes if I think the colors are too strong, I'll either dry off my brush and lift color with my brush, or sometimes I'll just take a paper towel to it. Just totally fine. I just kind of mess around until I kind of like the pattern that's going. And then clean off your brush really good, and I'm dipping into a turquoise color right here, but you can use any blue. It doesn't have to be turquoise, but you just kind of want a water color because the bird is standing in water. So I'm dipping into this teal. I believe it's by Daniel Smith, but it doesn't matter. You can use whatever color, shade, brand. Totally doesn't matter. You can experiment, make it your own. So same thing as the top, I'm just kind of dropping in and letting it flow, but also kind of trying to guide it a little bit. Encourage some mixing in the corners right there. But yeah, trying not to get it on the legs. If you do, you can just take a dry brush and follow it along. There you go. Follow it along those little legs and I'll kind of lift it. It can be, you know, it can have a little bit of this like blue color. We'll put blue in for the shadow so it doesn't super matter, but go ahead and just keep playing with it until you kind of like it. And then we're just gonna let it dry. I think the hardest part of watercolor for me is letting it dry. But I just let it sit a couple minutes and now it's dry. I grabbed another one of these Rebel Unicorn Craft brushes. The quill doesn't have to be this brand. It can be whatever, but you just kind of want a smaller brush than the one you had. Mine's a little dirty, so I'm cleaning it out. But yeah, just go ahead and get that damp and We're gonna start with an orange color. Just a nice bright orange. And I get a bunch of paint onto my mixing surface, and then I kind of rinse it out and then come back into it so it's not quite as strong, because we kind of want to build up the color slowly. So getting kind of a more washed out color, we're going to come in with the orange on the head, kind of going around the eye. Now I don't want to just directly paint all of it. I'm going to leave a little bit of white right here at the end, because they do have a little bit of white right there. And then I'm going to kind of model this in a little bit. We're just kind of doing that first layer of orange, so don't make it too strong. We can always go stronger, add more color, but it's really hard to take away. So don't be afraid to make it a little bit on the lighter side. And I'm just gonna keep moving around. I'm leaving some white. I kind of want more transition into this white right here, so I'm gonna kind of lift that a little bit. But yeah, you just don't want it to be too homogeneous. You want it a little bit, you know, kind of artsy. I don't know. At least that's what I like. You can do whatever you want though. Okay, and I'm just gonna let this dry just a little bit, maybe even kind of taking my dry brush and soaking up some of this water. We want it damp for the next part, but we don't want it too wet. So maybe I'll just give it a moment and wait just a second, maybe blow on it a little. I do that a lot. All right, so I have my medium level of sheen. I cut out the part of me like incessantly blowing on it, but oh, where'd my voice go? Excuse me. So grabbing this purple, and again, just dabbing it really so slightly and kind of guiding it on the edges, just to give it the illusion of a shadow. Bring some dimension, let it spread on its own. And maybe here at the top of its head too, just for fun. Maybe that was actually maybe I don't like that. Just dab at it, there you go. Sweet. There we go. Just kind of want nice purple. Okay, now while that continues to dry, we're gonna grab an even smaller brush. Actually, I really like these. They're Princeton Aqua Elite, big fan. Grabbing clean water again, and this time I'm going to, okay, so you can use black, and maybe I'll use like just a little bit of black right here, if you can see my palette, but I actually really like using more often an indigo color for my super darks. You can see it's very dark blue, but I kind of want it even darker because these birds have black beaks. So I'm kind of doing a mix of indigo with just a little bit of black, getting a real nice dark color, real fine brush. So it's kind of gonna be a little tricky with the details. And we're just gonna come in and paint the top beak first. This is kind of this is easy. This is like color in the numbers type stuff. It's real simple. Boom. And I want a little darker, add some more pigment, there you go. And when you're doing the bottom, it's ever so slight, but if I grab this, you can see there's just a little line of white. So I'm gonna do the same thing here and just leave a little bit of a white line. I don't even know if you can see it with the shine of the water, but leaving that white line can just sometimes break up the shapes and make it look like, I don't know, there's a little more separation than if you didn't have it. So, and I'm just gonna keep adding color until it's as dark as I want. Maybe didn't quite mix it dark enough. Boom, but there you go. And then he's this little, he's so cute. He's like eating something. So I don't know what it is, but I don't want too dark, but maybe just like a little bit of color. You can pick your color. I'm just gonna use the same color, but not make it as dark. Boom. Sweet. And then you can either use this tiny brush, or if you're feeling bold, you can go back to a bigger brush, but grabbing that same indigo with a little bit black or whatever dark mix you want. Doesn't have to be that fancy. I'm gonna come in and do its cute little bottom. That's dry enough. We're gonna go right kind of over it. And I'm not doing really hard edges because there's supposed to be an illusion of feathers, so I'm almost kind of feather dragging it. There. And then this upper section too. Oh, kind of feather it. Boom, boom, boom. Easy peasy. There you go. Sweet. That just really, honestly, really brought it together. Really made that bird pop, made the orange pop really nicely. So, now that this is dry enough that we can work close to it and not freak the painting out and have it just go crazy on us. It's kind of a mix of this indigo and then maybe just a little bit of teal. It's kind of like a mid-range blue, very light. Use a lot of water because these legs on the bird, they're very light colored, like almost white. They're not like a true white, but they're like almost white. And we're just wanting to give the illusion of a shadow so that that's not this like stark white random whatever. So really light color blue. You just kind of bring it in. I just kind of do like the top part like that and the bottom part. That just gives the illusion of like a little shadow.